Warframe 1999 has brought along a new Warframe and many changes, one of which is a Nyx rework. And for today, I have a Nyx that can do over 200 million damage. And, well, I don't have to say much, survive everything, crowd control enemies, nuke enemies, and just have loads of fun in Steel Path. Let's quickly get into the video. I was someone that didn't really use Nyx before that often. I had a build somewhat mediocre, but this rework has changed out a lot. First off, let's cover the passive. She gains critical chance on her primary and secondary per enemy within affinity range that is confused or has radiation on it or is affected by her first ability, up to a maximum of 200% for 5 enemies. Her first ability is one, if not the most useful ability, Mind Control. This allows you to take control of one enemy, having radiation on them, and shooting them will allow you to increase their damage multiplier. Now, shooting him in the head will give you an even higher multiplier, and this enemy will dish that damage out to nearby enemies. The second ability is Psychic Bolts. You launch Psychic Bolts that deal damage to enemies, fully armor strip them, and you're gonna be stealing their armor, shields, overguard if they have it, and or health. This is going to be incredibly good for survivability. You can stack up a lot of overguard on enemies when they spawn a lot of Eximus units later down the line in Steel Path. This ability has been changed out, and with the augment you can be even more effective. It is really nice. Chaos is the third ability. You cast this in an area around you, confusing enemies and applying 10 stacks of radiation, making the enemies shoot each other, which is going to benefit you quite a lot because of your fourth ability, Absorb. You turn into a bubble, gather up damage from enemies, and also enemies that have taken damage from your mind control target, which is your first ability, and enemies affected by chaos or confused shooting each other, making your damage go up to absorbent amounts, dishing it out fully when the duration is over as magnetic damage. The abilities synergize incredibly well. When you combine all of them, you get an incredibly good Warframe, and when you combine these mods up on screen, you can see my main Nyx build. We are utilizing a lot of power strength through Blind Rage, Transient Fortitude, Umbral Intensify, Growing Power, and also Molt Augmented. We do focus a little bit on range through Cunning Drift and Stretch, and we utilize Assimilate and Mind Freak. Now, Assimilate is an augment mod for Absorb, allowing you to make the bubble a little bit smaller, have a smaller blast radius, but you can use your weapons and it drains them energy over time. This will allow you to basically continuously get energy, and of course it's gonna allow you to continuously build up damage up to that famous 200 million. The more energy you have, the longer you can keep it up. And Mind Freak is of course an augment mod for mind control, allowing it and giving it 1000% extra damage and increased movement speed to your mind control target. When this stacks up with the damage that you have dealt to it, it is gonna go to incredible amounts. The highest I've been able to reach was 17,000% increased damage. Everything else is pretty much a must. The second build that we have up on screen is going to be if you don't want the movement of Assimilate. The damage is pretty much the same. It does go to a little bit lower numbers. You're not going to be able to reach 200 million that early in Steel Path. You need to go further on beyond and deeper into Steel Path to reach those numbers. But this ability will allow you to utilize Pacifying Bolts, which is an augment for your second ability, and it is going to allow you to throw more bolts dealing radiation damage and also spreading the bolts to enemies further on, which is going to be incredibly good for armor stripping a lot of the enemies in your area. The Archon Shards that we have up for choice are going to be 2 blue ones giving us 100 energy, we have 2 red ones giving us 20% power strength, and then 1 Town Forged yellow one giving us 37.5% casting speed. Honestly, you're going to gain casting speed and a little bit of power strength through your focus school if you're going to use it Madurai. We have power transfer and sling strength giving us casting speed and power strength respectively, so use it if you want. The weapons of choice, honestly, the best weapon that I have realized has been the Burst on Incarnate. This is the build, and you can also see the evolutions down there. Now, why do you need a good high damaging weapon? The most important thing here is to focus focus on pure damage, faction damage, and also focusing on a little bit of elemental damage, because the mind control enemy that you get, you have a couple of seconds to shoot it, of course, with your weapon and increase its damage. The stronger your weapon is and the higher damage it does, the more you're going to be gathering up, and the higher that percentage of that mind control target is gonna go up, in turn increasing the nuking capabilities of your fourth ability. If you have any other great weapons, you can definitely leave it in the comment section down below. I've tested everything out on stream, so this is the best weapon that I have personally found. For the companion of choice, I highly recommend using Nautilus with Hellstrom. This is going to be incredibly good because of Synth Deconstruct is gonna give us a lot of health and energy orbs, and because Reinforced Bond on Nautilus Prime exclusively works, giving us increased fire rate, dealing even more damage to that mind control target. And Hellstrom with gas is going to be incredibly good, spreading around status effects like crazy, allowing us to gain even more health orbs from those enemies. Now that you have gathered everything up for the build, let's talk about how it functions. First of all you need is a mind control target. The stronger enemy you pick, the better it is going to be. So use, for example, corrupted heavy gunners, but Eximus units like, for example, the Arctic Eximus unit is incredibly good. You can also put the Blast Eximus units, or the fire one that does fire damage, I always forget what it's called. You can also even select Acolytes, but don't do that because it kind of bugs out the game, so try not to do that. But strong enemies, but the stronger the enemy is that you have selected for your mind control target, the higher damage it does, and the faster it does it, the more you're going to be nuking with your fourth ability, considering that your fourth ability mostly scales off of this target and also a little bit off of Chaos with your power strength as well. So all you need to do is activate your Chaos, confuse the enemies so you don't die, gather up everything you possibly need with your second ability. You can armor ship enemies, kill those enemies, and then the Psychic Bolt spread to other enemies. You can kill Eximus units and gather their overguard and literally survive only on overguard, and you're pretty much done and dusted. Activate your fourth ability so you can be resistant to knockdown and basically will be invincible in game. And that is basically it. Just run around, gather up as much damage as you possibly can, kill a couple of enemies with your bursting, and that's it. Rinse and repeat. Select another strong target for mind controlling, because you always want your first ability active, because a lot of your bonus comes from this ability and the target that you pick. And then nuke every single room that you come by. If an Acolyte appears, well, just do the same to him. Wait for the damage to build up, nuke him, and if he cannot use your abilities, you just use your bursting, because it's an incredibly good weapon at killing Acolytes as well. And now you know how to play Nyx, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Do leave it in the comment section down below on what you think of Nyx at the moment. I think she is amazing. She's literally the bomb at the moment. A nuke in Warframe. Hopefully they don't change her, and hopefully you guys subscribe and also leave a like and do join the channel as a member. Highly appreciate it. It takes some time to make these videos, so every little bit helps out a lot. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.